Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. What a crazy September we're having. It started off super cold, and now it is like mid-summer heat out there. Our water temps on the big lakes had gotten down near 60 or the low 60s, and now they're creeping back up into that upper 60s to even 70 in some areas. But with that being said, let's dive right into this week's fishing report. This week we're going to start up on Lake Winnie. Unfortunately, the fishing has slowed down some out on Winnie. These warmer temps have affected the bite pretty significantly. The majority of the walleyes are still in that 8 to 13 foot of water along the shoreline weed lines, but the water has cleared up a ton and the fish are extremely spooky. Now, before, pulling crankbaits and spinners was working really well, but with that water clearing up, when you troll over them, those fish scatter, and it's really tough to get those fish trolling now. Now, guys that are pitching jigs with a minnow or half a crawler, they're having some success, but you have to park a long ways off of the fish and make really long casts in order not to spook them. Even the guys that are out live scoping, throwing slip bobbers, they're throwing a slip bobber 60, 70 foot, landing the slip bobber right on top of those fish, and they can see on the live scope that when that slip bobber hits the water, those fish are scattering, so it's really tough to get on those walleyes right now. But like I said before, if you're going to try and fish for walleyes, that 8 to 13 foot of water on those shoreline weeds, Tamarack Bay, Dam Bay, over on this south end, Little Stony, Third River, Mallard, those are some good areas to target those fish in. But just know you're gonna have to park a long ways off of those fish, make long casts with a 1/8, 3/16 ounce jig head tipped with a fat head or a rainbow or even a half of a crawler, and hopefully you won't spook those fish and get a few of them to bite. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, a lot of those perch are in that 6 to 12 foot of water as well. They don't seem to be quite as spooky as the walleyes, but they are a little bit tougher to catch than they have been in the past couple of weeks. Pulling spinners with a fat head or throwing a 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jig head with a fat head is working best for those. Now, the areas to find those perch, similar areas to the walleyes, Tamarack Bay, Dam Bay, Third River, Little Stony, those are great areas to find some of those big jumbo perch out on Lake Winnie. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, haven't got a ton of reports on the bluegills, but the crappie bite is still decent. It seems with this warm-up, they have kind of gone back to that low light period, really early in the morning or late in the evening. Tamarack Bay, Dam Bay, the Inner Bay, those seem to be some of the better areas to target those fish, along with over in Big Cutfoot. Best ways to catch those is with a jig head and a crappie minnow or a fat head. Otherwise, you can throw a slip bobber with a minnow below it as well. Now, the areas to target those crappies, shallow weed lines, those reed patches, those seem to be holding the majority of those crappies. If you can find some reeds, fish around them or in them, and more than likely you will find some nice crappies. Now, if you guys are looking to hire a guide up on Lake Winnie, Zups Guide Service is the premier walleye guide up in the area. That doesn't mean you can only fish walleyes with him. He does chase perch and panfish as well. And if you don't want to fish out on Big Winnie, he does fish the local lakes as well. Along with, he is starting to get ready for this coming ice fishing season. He will have 4 ice castles that he will be renting out on Lake Winnie, primarily set up for walleye and perch with an occasional bonus eel pout. So if you're looking to get out to Lake Winnie, whether it be open water or ice fishing season, go ahead and call Scott from Zups Guide Service. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Lake Winnie, Chad at the Pines Resort, he runs a great operation over there. He's got cabins and campsites, full bar and restaurant, live bait, fish cleaning shack, boat rentals, dock slips, and he is starting to take reservations for this ice fishing season as well, and things are really starting to book pretty fast. So if you're looking to get in on some of those prime dates up on Lake Winnie, whether it be open water or ice season, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake. The bite on Leech Lake has fared a little bit better than the other two lakes. They're still catching some nice walleyes on those main lake sand flats in that 10 to 16 foot of water. A jig and a crawler or a jig and a minnow is working best. And then in the evenings, guys are pulling crankbaits in a perch, crawfish, or purple iridescent and having some pretty good success catching fish on those, but those crankbaits need to be pulled during those low light periods. Now, another really good area to target those fish, Traders Bay. There's some sand grass flats out in front of Brindley's Harbor and Acorn Hill Resort. Anywhere from that 8 to 14 foot of water seems to be holding some decent walleyes right now with a few perch mixed in. Pitching jigs with half a crawler or a minnow seems to be working best for those. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, right now it seems like Walker Bay is the place to be for that perch bite. That doesn't mean that's the only place you can get them, but the Walker Bay, Walker Narrows area, anywhere from that 6 to 12 foot of water seems to be holding some really nice perch right now. And pitching a jig in a fathead is working very well for those fish. Now, you can also find some of those perch up in Sucker Bay, Steamboat, Shingobi. Those are some other good areas to target those perch as well. And you can also find some nice panfish up in Boy, Sucker, Steamboat, Shingobi. Those are great areas to be targeting those panfish right now. For the bluegill, a small jig with a crawler or a slip bobber with a crawler is working best for those. Or the crappies, a small jig with a fathead or a minnow style plastic is working for those. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes, most reports are saying that the majority of the muskies are on the shallow rocks right now. Guys are starting to get some of those big muskies soaking big sucker minnows below a bobber. Otherwise, throwing some smaller bucktails or topwaters is working best for those. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, Kyle at Acorn Hill Resort, he has a beautiful spot over on Traders Bay. They got cabins, seasonal sites, full bar and restaurant, boat rentals, basically anything you need, they have it. And they are starting to take reservations for ice fishing season. And if you book a fish house rental before October 1st and mention Livin MN Outdoors, you will receive a discounted rate on those. So if you guys are looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming weekend or during the ice fishing season, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. All right, moving down to Mille Lacs Lake. It seems like this warmer weather has really affected Mille Lacs. It seemed like those fish were starting to move into their fall spots. People were starting to catch some really nice walleyes, and that has definitely slowed down, and the fish kind of seem to be confused on where they want to be right now. Now, for right now, the best areas to target those fish is still that 16 to 22 foot of water on the gravel and rocks or rock to mud transitions. Pitching a jig in a minnow or a jig in a paddle tail seems to be producing some nice fish, but they can be pretty finicky until they settle into those fall patterns again. Now, as far as the perch, they're still catching some nice perch out there, anywhere from that 16 to 30 foot of water. Rock to mud or the mud flats seem to be holding the majority of those perch. Slip bobber with a chunk of a crawler or a small minnow is working. Otherwise, a small jig and a minnow will work as well. Now, as far as the smallmouth bass bite goes, the majority of the smallmouth have shifted out a little bit deeper. They're in that 16 to 24 foot of water on the rocks and boulders. That doesn't mean there isn't still some stragglers up in that shallower 10 to 16 foot of water. but the majority do seem to have shifted out a little bit deeper, catching those on drop shots, Ned rigs, rigging bigger minnows, although that has slowed down some with the warm-up, and even trolling some crankbaits is producing some nice smallies as well. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. I do want to remind you guys, start making your plans for this upcoming ice fishing season, whether that be hiring a guide, getting cabins, renting fish houses, getting your equipment in order, start charging batteries, plan what shows you're going to go to. It is coming fairly quick, and it is time to start planning now. Now, if you guys do make it out fishing and you catch some nice fish, take some pictures, send them to us on Facebook or to our Gmail. Remember, when you do get out, be kind at the boat ramps. Don't crowd other fishermen. Be respectful. And most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.